Whenever you speak of bad omen, do not have faith on it and do not become habituated to it. Travel on Wednesday and its supplication. If it is said that Wednesday is an inauspicious day, then in this regard there is a tradition of holy infallibles that we must not worry about it. A tradition of Sayfanachal Bahar says, one who leaves his house on Wednesday, and as opposed to those who consider bad omens, he does not turn back home, he is saved from all calamities. He remains safe from all difficulties and Allah fulfills his aim for which he undertook the journey. 55. There is a tradition from Imam Ali Rida A.S. that one should read the following supplication while beginning a journey on a Wednesday. O my Lord, I seek protection from that wickedness, which I find in my own self, so save me from this mischief. 56. Imam has taught supplications in which a person invokes, I seek your protection from the inauspiciousness of this Wednesday. Rather, Imam teaches us to say, I want to come out of the evil, which is present in my own self, into the shade of your protection. We must always augur good. It should not remain unsaid that to augur good is recommended and Sharia also commands it. The Messenger of Allah has said, indeed, to augur good is liked by Allah. Taking a good omen is like a person on seeing someone, or by hearing his name, or by any other relevant matter imagines happiness and deliverance from affliction for himself. 57. For example, if a co-traveler is named Nasrullah, help of Allah, one should say, if Allah wills, by the auspiciousness of your name, Allah's help and assistance would remain with us all the way. Narrations mention that in the battle against infidels in Hudaybiyah, when the companions arrived, the Prophet, taking relevance from their name Saul equals easy, said, our mission was made easy. Auguring evil is related to polytheism. Yes, the meaning of auguring evil is that upon seeing a handicapped person on the way one thinks that the control over the Prophet and loss of the work for which he was going has slipped from Allah's hand. And now it is in the hands of seeing that handicapped person. One begins to take an imaginary thing as effective and does not consider the effect and control of God. That is, he does polytheism in God's actions. On the contrary, if one augurs good, his good opinion in respect of Allah and his hopes increase. He does not consider these imaginary things to be effective. Rather he considers Allah as the only effective power. Conclusion. Monotheists should consider all good and evil, all profit and loss, all kinds of hope for goodness and deliverance from evil, to be related only with God. One should use the causes as means, but all one's hopes should be in the will and pleasure of God. With regard to effect, the causes are not cut off and independent from Allah. Hope should be only from Allah. He can make any cause as means and he may, if he so likes, does not make some cause as the means and without the involvement of any cause. He exercises his will. Considering causes to be necessarily effective is a kind of polytheism. Such imaginary things and bad omens have no effect of their own. Making imams as intermediaries is not polytheism. Certain ignorant people, like the Wahhabis, label the Shias as polytheists because they consider their imams to be intermediaries between them and God. They invoke Allah in their names and repose hope in their intercession. On the basis of this they allege, may Allah give us refuge, that Shias worship their imams. The reply to this allegation is that Shias never consider their imams as partners of Allah. They are true believers in monotheism. They consider the Holy Prophet and the 12 imams to be creatures of Allah and his proximate servants. They consider the worship of anyone other than Allah as polytheism and a prohibited act. They obey the Holy Prophet and the 12 imams because it is the command of Allah to do so. O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the Apostle and those in authority from among you. 58. And whatever the Apostle gives you, accept it, and from whatever he forbids you, keep back. 59. It is proved with categorical proofs that the 12 imams from Ahlul Bayt household of the Prophet are the true successors and legatees of the Prophet. The Holy Prophet himself has clearly commanded to obey and follow them, while obedience to the Prophet is in fact obedience to Allah. Visitation ziyarat is not deification. Yes, to visit the graves of the beloved servants of Allah is not polytheism. Shias do not worship the imams by going for their visitation ziyarat. Rather it is an expression of respect and humility. Common sense dictates that the servants of Allah should be humble before him. Intelligence demands that fear of Allah and humility to him should be shown by everyone. In the same way, to respect the favorite servants of Allah is a proof of obeisance to Allah. To love the beloved ones of Allah is to love Allah. 60. The Quran also commands the Muslims to honor and respect the Holy Prophet s. For example, it is said, "Do not raise your voices above the voice of the Prophet, and do not speak loud to him." 61. Do not hold the apostles calling you among you to be like you calling one to the other. 62. That is, do not call the messenger like you call each other, but say, O Messenger of Allah s. That you may believe in Allah and His Apostle and may aid him and revere him, and that you may declare His glory, morning and evening. 63. It is also established with solid proofs that the 12 Imams are included in this command, as they are having the same respectful position. They are all from the same light Nur, and as the respect of the Prophet is obligatory, in the same way their 12 Imams, respect is also obligatory. Respecting the kings and rulers. It is a matter of great astonishment that those who say, in opposition to Shias, that respecting the Holy Prophet s and his progeny is polytheism, themselves behave with great respect and honor towards the rulers, the people of authority and rather every wealthy person. In fact, the Holy Prophet s has prohibited humility to rich people when he said, Allah destroys 2/3 of the faith of one who shows humility towards a wealthy person, just because of his wealth. 64. This tradition indicates that besides humility to the wealthy with one's words and actions while also having a similar feeling in the heart, because of his wealth, can cause the destruction of 2/3 of one's religion. But if the wealthy person is religious also, and respect is shown because of his piety, then it would be respect of religion, and respect of Allah's religion is respect of Allah himself. Taking someone as intermediary is different from considering him a deity. To take the Prophet and other dignitaries of religion as intermediaries in the court of Allah for fulfillment of worldly and other worldly aims and desires, or to consider them as intercessors, who by the will and permission of Allah would be our helpers in delivering us from physical losses as well as getting us spiritual values, is not polytheism. There is a difference in taking someone as intermediary in the court of Allah from considering someone as God. Allah has bestowed such power and capability to the Imams that with the permission and will of Allah they can help the servants of Allah. They can lift up the fallen ones, they can save them from stumbling over or colliding with something, they can save them from afflictions and misfortune, and they can take those on the roads to their destination. Making them intermediaries is just like one goes to a doctor or takes medicine and considers them as means to good health, which would be ultimately provided by Allah. If Allah had not permitted, the doctor or the medicine would not have healed. In the same way, if Allah did not wish, the Prophet and Imams also would not have helped. Everything depends on Allah. If a person feels himself to be incapable or unable to reach the king on his own, he seeks help of those courtiers who are favorites and confidants of the king and makes them his intermediaries. In this way there is no disrespect to the king. The great Muhaddith Iraqi has narrated many incidents regarding the mediation of Ahlul Bayt and the fulfillment of needs through them in his book Darus Salam. We relate here one of those incidents. On page 539 of this book the incident begins as follows. The fifth miracle is regarding Mullah Abdul Hussain Qansari, who was a reliable and an upright person. He was an attendant at the shrines of Karbala, and was famous as Turbate Pek. He used to collect the dust of cure, cake shifa from venerable places with proper procedure as mentioned in traditions, and distributed it to the pilgrims. It was the beginning period of my being an attendant, that in a religious gathering I happened to meet him. I found him to be very pious and virtuous. I came to know that he had the opportunity to be the attendant of and in serving the holy shrine for many years. I requested him to narrate some miracle that he himself has witnessed. Of the astonishing things related by him is the following. I was living Qansar. For some time I stayed in a town near the city of Baruhart, and then I stayed in villages. At last, one day, I got a passion to serve at the purified grave of Imam Hussain A.S. It was winter and I did not have adequate means for travel. But still I acquired 2 asses.